For our Mike linebacker, his key is the running back through the guard. So he is vision on the running back. He's got his scope set on the running back, but big picture, he's seeing the guards. And the reason for that is if there's pullers, it's going to change the way that he attacks the run, and it's going to change the way he fits. It's going to change his tempo. So he's got to know if there's pullers, but he's focused on the running back. And most of our coverages, he needs to drop off the running back anyway, so it ties in well with how we fit the run versus how we play the pass. For our buck, he's going to be keying the end man on the line. So it could be an H-back, tight end, tackle, whoever it is, that's where his eyes are. He's the same way. He's got his eyes on the tackle, but he's also seeing the running back because, again, in pass coverage, a lot of times, he will have responsibility for taking the running back, so it ties in well with the pass for the buck as well. So his two jobs, or his two reads, I should say, are an out block and a down block. If he gets a block to him, he's going to punch that guy and he's going to set the edge. He's the edge of the defense. If he gets a down block on our defensive end, he's going to squeeze down inside and he's going to look to box a puller or a kick-out block, whichever's coming at him. So we'll look at some zone fits for our Mike linebacker here. Now, like I said, zone versus gap is going to be different. So in zone fitting, the Mike is strictly a ball fitter. So he doesn't have a gap. He's going wherever the ball goes. So in this case here, you get a zone read type thing, and the right tackle is going to arc out, but it's zone blocking. So we're getting zone blocking up front. 5, the Mike linebacker is just responsible for fitting on the running back, wherever he's at. Because regardless of what's going on the perimeter, on the interior, doesn't really matter. The Mike doesn't really have a gap here. So all he's going to do is fit on that running back. Same thing here. You're going to get split zone on this play, but any kind of zone blocking, we treat it the same. Whether it's inside zone, zone read, split zone, whatever. We're going to treat it the same. So once the Mike reads this line, zone blocking right there, he's fitting on the ball. If the ball were to hit up in the middle, then that's where he would insert. In this case, our defensive tackle here is a little too wide. He's in a 3 technique. He should be in a 2-eye. And then he swipes out of his gap. He should be in the A gap. So this big gap right here that 5's stepping to, 44 should be in there. But things happen in football. Interior gaps do open up. Guys get blocked, whatever. The Mike's there to clean it up against zone. So he steps to that open gap because it looks like that's where the running back's headed. Once he rocks back, the Mike rocks back too, and he can get in on the tackle. Another example here. Now, you'll know our linebacker here, his toes are at about 4.5 yards. We want him to be at 6. His toes should be at 6, so he should be really deep. And the reason for that is because we don't want him to get down in the mix and get caught up in blocks when he should be mirroring the running back. He doesn't need to press the line of scrimmage if the running back's not pressing the line of scrimmage. So we want him to have depth so he can get over the top. But in this case, nobody really is able to climb to him, but he stays patient and he stays back and he mirrors the running back. It falls all the way back to the D gap, really, and he's able to get in on that tackle. You can see our strong here lined up on number 2. He's reading the end man and the backfield. So once he sees the run action, he's sliding inside too. So they're both responsible for that D gap right there. Looking at our defensive end, 99, he's doing a great job right here. He's not able to get his body into his B gap, but he takes the tackle and he closes that gap with the offensive tackle's body. So that B gap ends up being closed. Everything washes all the way down. If the Mike stays out of the wash, he can rock back and he can make the tackle. Here's an example of what it looks like if the Mike is not patient. Again, too tight. The Mike's feet are at 5 yards instead of 6. We get the inside zone here, and he just immediately picks a side, and the ball bounces back, and nobody's there. Also a good example, our buck up here, he's out on number 2. He's looking inside, he's reading, but once the ball's snapped, he just bails out and plays the pass. So we don't get anybody there on the edge either. So both our Mike and our buck are kind of just guessing here. This thing ends up being, an 8-yard gain when it should be maybe a 2-yard gain if we do it the right way. Our interior D-line, you can see here, they're doing a good job playing their gaps. He's punching, playing the A gap. He's ripping through. We should be punching and controlling that gap, but he is in his gap. And the defensive end here, he's trying to swipe inside. He doesn't quite get there, but he's pressing that tackle down into that gap. The Mike should be able to easily rock back and get in on this tackle along with the buck. So that's what happens if people move too fast and guess where the running back's fitting. Right here you can see 6. He just assumes it's going to hit front side, and then it rocks back and no one's there. So we got to be patient against zone plays as the Mike. Now here's another example where the ball does hit up in the middle. So they're working some split zone here. Our defensive end on the top doesn't swipe inside to the B gap. So that B gap stays open and the running back keeps it tight and runs right in through there. But if the Mike is mirroring the running back, he should be able to fix it. So he's able to get in on that tackle. It's a small gain instead of a big gain. Now when we get into gap fits, we're totally going to change up the way that we play. The tempo is going to be much faster. So once we see a puller, we're going as fast as we can to the down block on the end of the line of scrimmage. Usually it's on our defensive end. We're going as fast as we can and we're spilling whatever shows up there. Against zone, we're patient, we're taking small steps, and we're taking our time mirroring where the running back's going. Against gap scheme, we're going fast right away. Once we see the puller, we should be flying. And we're getting ready to blow something up once we get there, expecting to spill a puller. So here in this first example, we see the pull. You can see the difference already in the Mike's tempo. He just takes off right away once he sees that pull. He gets to the point of attack, knows a puller's there, even if he can't see him necessarily, spills that puller, and makes that ball go one gap wider. Now in this case, it's a condensed set, so the Buck's in there tight. They're trying to scoop him out, so he's just pressing that tight end back. The corner and the whip here would fit. If this second puller here, this H-back coming across would come through, this guy's eyes are bad. He should be on the H. When the H comes across, the whip should come back. So he's wrong. Okay, but once we get to this point, if that H were to make it through, the corner should be on his outside shoulder and the whip should be on his inside shoulder. So we've got everybody, every gap accounted for. But the linebackers on this play do such a good job of condensing it and pressing back those pullers that the second puller is not able to get through. But you can see the tempo with which the Mike goes. Puller, down block here on 99, the right defensive end. You get the down block right there. And he's coming as tight as he can to that thing. So once that puller hits him, you can see he's inside the puller. That's where we need to be. The reason we want to come tight to the down block is if we get too wide, it's very easy to get kicked out. And then no matter how good we're fitting the run out here, they're going to hit it right up inside of the kickout block, the way the play's designed. So we have to come super tight, spill that thing, make a mess of it, and make it go one gap wider.